At 9:37. Time to strap our geek on with Calvin over at The Geek Show. 2 3s rather than 2 E's, thegeekshow.com. Calvin, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And today we've got a bit of a technology platter, a variety of tasty tech morsels to chew on today, including, first up, a pretty awesome, cool skateboard.
Yeah. I've got my geek on about lots of different things today.
Yeah.
And this, there's a company from Texas, Austin, Texas, I do believe, called Chaotic Moon Labs. Great name.
Very cool name.
And they demonstrated at CES, the Consumer Electronics Show 2012, about a month ago, this awesome longboard with all-terrain tires called the Board of Awesomeness. And what was awesome about it is at the front there's a Microsoft Kinect camera, and under the board an 800-watt electric motor that propels the board up to 50 kilometers an hour.
Oh, fast.
And it does this by recognizing gestures from the Kinect.
Wow, so is the camera kind of like pointing upwards towards the person standing on it?
Yeah, it points up at you and then looks for you making "I'm going forwards" gesture. So this is, quite exciting at CES this year, and everyone's like, wow, 50 kilometer an hour all-terrain skateboard, controlled by gesture. Could it really get any cooler? Well, yes.
Well, can it? Really?
Yes, it can. It can get significantly cooler because they've now launched the Board of Imagination.
No.
Which is controlled by an emotive Epoch headset. Which is a brainwave sensor. So you think yourself going forwards.
Wow. That's serious high tech.
This is a thought-controlled, and there's some pictures up now if you're looking on the live screen. This is a thought-controlled 50 kilometers an hour motorized all-terrain skateboard.
Now, do we know that this really works? I mean, this could be one of those, those classic sort of hoaxes. Sort of, we've got this thing here and we're controlling it, but really it's being controlled by something else. Do we know it actually works?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I mean, the Kinect one certainly did, and they're a very serious company. I don't see them doing this. The thing they're using for the brainwave detection is it's a readily available headset by a company called Emotive. So they're just putting together bits of, readily available consumer grade gear, and they're running it all through a Windows 8 powered tablet to run the whole thing. So there's nothing in there that's actually, that shouldn't work. They're just putting together bits of readily available gear, and they have plenty of video of it operating.
No, I have a problem though. I have a problem. You see, once I get good at something, my mind tends to wander. I like to start thinking about other things, maybe where I'm going, what I'm going to be doing. When I get there, I probably won't be thinking about propelled forward. I can see an issue here with multitasking.
Yeah, I could see you'll just come to a stop, won't you?
Exactly.
You've got lots of people standing around on static skateboards, daydreaming.
Or, you think about something that your left brain is more active about than the right brain, so you swing off left,
No, all the steering is controlled by leaning left and right as you normally would. The only thing that's controlled by your brain is the speed.
Right.
So you kind of think, I want to go over there, and it learns how your brain reacts when you're thinking that.
Obviously, it's an awesome skateboard, but obvious practical application is a wheelchair, yeah?
Yes, that's the obvious practical application of this. But there's plenty of research in those areas going on already. And that's all well and good, but it lacks the significant cool factor of just being able to say, hey, I've got a mind-controlled skateboard.
It's not
it wouldn't bother me if it was a bit buggy and if it was very dangerous. Just being able to say, hey, I'm going out on my mind-controlled skateboard.
One step cooler if it was a hoverboard, not a skateboard. That would be the one step cooler.
Oh, now you're talking. Okay, yeah, they can go cooler.
Yeah.
But I don't see how I think they could probably do an urban all-terrain hoverboard because you might be able to adjust the pavements to have, big magnets in them or something. Yeah. I'm not sure how an all-terrain hoverboard would work.
Yeah.
That would be even more difficult.
Of course, promised in Back to the Future too, but it still hasn't happened. No. Yeah. What else have you got?
Right. Well, this is a brilliant little thing. This is a little small story here, but there's a Japanese team have invented a device to silence people.
And
it's really
a gag, a sock in the mouth.
Well, it does it, but it does it in a far more subtle way. And this is something that actually it's based on something that Helen had a problem with last year at one point on the show. The method it uses to shut people up is it echoes their voice back to them about 0.2 seconds after they've said something.
Yeah.
And it's almost impossible to talk. And Helen got caught up with this problem that she was listening in on the headphones while she was presenting a geek show.
Yeah.
And was giving her a delayed signal back into her headphones.
And it makes you talk like that.
Sound drunk. Yeah. It started shutting her brain down. And this device works on exactly the same principle. If you hear your own voice delayed, you just stop talking until it catches up.
Yeah.
So you just point these things at people and it will shut them up.
Okay, so
I'm not sure if this is the ultimate in passive aggressive, but what a brilliant idea. Can we get that in the beehive?
I can see that there's some pretty malicious applications for this. You don't like what some protesters are saying through a megaphone, so then you project it back to them. Well, I can see this.
The megaphone guy.
Yeah.
I think the megaphone guys are probably dealing with all sorts of problems with that from echoes from nearby things at about the same rate as well. So.
Yeah. And people hate hearing the sound of their own voice, don't they?
Oh, don't they just? It's like, I don't sound like that on the inside.
Unless you're in radio and you obviously love it. That's the only reason why you've been radio. Next, final story, Kelvin.
Yeah, well, this is probably this could be quite a dry story for huge numbers of people listening, but it's quite exciting for anybody who's got an Nvidia graphics card and who plays games. A couple of weeks ago, Nvidia released the latest series of drivers, the number 295.73, for their graphics cards, and it addressed a huge load of issues, but only with the biggest selling games in the world.
Okay.
And this is something I just find incredibly interesting. Skyrim has got up to 44% increase in performance on one of the graphics cards that I've got, a GeForce GTX 560.
Significant.
And it takes this from, on a single 560, it takes it from under 30 frames a second to about 40 frames a second. That takes it from unplayable with all the settings on Ultra to playable on Ultra, which is really quite neat.
So, because we're told, when we're gaming that the performance increases are from the hardware themselves. That you actually got to buy a really high performing graphics cards in order to get the best out of a game. But you're telling me that it's not only the hardware, but also the software that drives the hardware.
Massively. If this wasn't the case, then the current crop of PS3 titles and Xbox titles would look the same as titles from 5 or 6 years ago.
Right.
But they don't, because they keep fine-tuning how much they can squeeze out the hardware. Now, with PC users, it's a little bit different because there's such a wide range of hardware out there. But they do all this tuning with the drivers. And while I think it's pretty excellent, imagine if you bought a car and then found out, your car had a top speed of 100 miles an hour. And then you found out that if there'd been an upgrade on the two biggest roads in the country, whereby if you drove along State Highway 1 or 2, you could do 140 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But if you never drove those roads, you never saw that performance increase.
Yeah, right.
that's a bit like what it's like. It's great for those that are playing the very small number of big games that Nvidia are quite happy to put the time in, fine-tuning their drivers for. So if you're playing Elder Scrolls, or if you're playing Battlefield 3 or Mass Effect 3, any of the real big sellers, or Call of Duty, that's just had a big benefit as they've put in ambient occlusion support, so all the shadows look really, really good. It looks way better. Okay. But if you're not playing those big games, you don't see those performance increases.
Yeah. That is that is fascinating, and so that's for across the board wide range of Nvidia graphics cards that are out on the market now.
Yeah, pretty much all of the graphics cards, all of their main ones that are on sale will benefit from this.
Yeah.
And if you're running one of those cards, it's like a free upgrade worth several $100s.
Yeah. Go fine tune your graphics card. Calvin, that has been a rather entertaining and special edition of the Geek Show. Really appreciate your time.
But is that special as in special?
CHELFYN on Twitter, and thegeekshow.com, 2 3s rather than 2 E's is